My name is Barbara C. Brown. I am 30 years old, and 8 years ago I met the man I believed I would marry. Matthew and I met in college while studying business. I focused on finance while he specialized in marketing. He was ambitious, creative, and constantly full of ideas. I was the steady one, the woman who planned ahead, saved money, and made sure nothing important fell apart. We fit together because opposites attract. At least, that was what I believed. After graduation, I found a stable position at a mid-sized investment firm. The salary was respectable, though far from glamorous. Matthew struggled. His first job disappeared before his probation period ended. After that came freelance projects, temporary roles, and clients who promised opportunities before vanishing. I never resented helping him. I paid most of our rent so he could build his portfolio. I came home after 12-hour workdays, cooked dinner, listened to him complain about failed pitches, and reminded him that one rejection did not define his talent. "We have this," I always said. For years, I believed we did. I rejected a promotion because it required moving to another city when Matthew's career was finally gaining traction. I skipped family vacations so we could reduce his student debt. I delayed replacing my unreliable car because he needed a professional laptop and money for networking events. I was not keeping score. I thought sacrifice was what people did when they were building a future together. We discussed marriage, children, and buying a home. Matthew wore the watch I gave him on our 5th anniversary and joked that he would replace it with a wedding band someday. Then, 2 years ago, Serena returned. She was Matthew's ex-girlfriend from high school. The reckless, magnetic woman who rode motorcycles, worked as a bartender, and occasionally performed as a DJ. She had broken his heart by leaving him for someone else. Now, she was single again. At first, Matthew claimed they were only reconnecting through mutual friends. "She is part of my past," he said, whenever her name appeared on his phone. "You have nothing to worry about." But Serena slowly entered our relationship like smoke seeping beneath a closed door. Matthew began comparing us. "Serena is spontaneous. We should be more like that." He posted old group photographs containing her and added captions based on private jokes I did not understand. Then came the late nights. I would wake after midnight and see Matthew smiling at messages beneath the blanket. Whenever I moved, he turned the screen away. I confronted him over coffee one morning. "This feels inappropriate." He rolled his eyes. "You are being insecure. It is only nostalgia." I wanted to believe him. Instead, I blamed myself. Maybe I had become too predictable, too focused on bills, work, and the future. I planned surprise dinners and weekend trips, trying to restore something Matthew was already giving to someone else. Mutual friends began sending uncomfortable messages. They had seen him with Serena. One friend said they looked very close. I spent nights staring at the ceiling, wondering why loyalty and stability had made me less desirable, rather than more. Everything ended on a Friday evening. I left work early and bought Matthew's favorite Thai food, extra spicy. I thought we could finally have an honest conversation. He arrived around 7, staring at his phone. No kiss, no greeting. We sat across from each other while the food grew cold. "We need to discuss Serena," I said. Matthew leaned back and crossed his arms. "What about her?" "You are spending more time with her than you admit." A faint smile appeared on his face. "I have been seeing her." My stomach tightened. "Seeing her?" "Yes. Romantically." He said it as casually as if he were telling me about a new restaurant. "You are cheating on me." "Do not be dramatic. Serena understands parts of me that you never have. She makes me feel alive." "And what do I make you feel?" "Safe," he said dismissively. "But safe becomes boring." I stared at the man whose bills I had paid and whose future I had repeatedly placed ahead of mine. "I supported every dream you had." "This is not a transaction, Barbara. I do not owe you love because you helped me." "I never said you did." "You are controlling. Everything with you is schedules, savings, and responsibility." Then he said the sentence that ended us. "I am going to keep seeing Serena whether you like it or not. We can try an open relationship, but I am not giving her up." You want 8 years of loyalty and permission to betray me? People evolve, he replied. You are not enough for me anymore. He grabbed his keys. I am going to Serena's place. We can talk tomorrow. The door slammed behind him. I did not follow. By morning, the grief had turned into clarity. I packed my clothes, books, documents, and laptop. I canceled our shared subscriptions, separated our accounts, and left my key on the counter. Then, I sent Matthew one final message. Good luck with her. I blocked his number and walked away before he returned. He had the right to choose Serena, and I had the right to make sure he never came home to me again. I spent the first week after leaving on my friend Daniel's couch. He did not ask for details. He only handed me a spare key, cleared a shelf in the bathroom, and said, "Stay as long as you need." The silence felt brutal at first. No Matthew humming badly in the shower, no unfinished coffee mugs on the counter, no late-night complaints about clients or deadlines. For 8 years, his presence had filled every room. Now the absence did. I signed up for therapy the following week. My therapist, Dr. Hayes, listened while I explained the affair, the open relationship ultimatum, and the years of sacrifices I had convinced myself were normal. You supported him, she said. But when did he support you? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. That question followed me for days. I started running again. At first, I could barely finish 2 miles without stopping, but the ache in my legs was easier to understand than the ache in my chest. I also contacted my manager. The promotion I had rejected 2 years earlier was available again. It required transferring to a branch in a nearby city, but this time, nobody was waiting at home to tell me relocation would ruin his momentum. I accepted immediately. Within a month, I had a new office, a larger salary, and a 1-bedroom apartment overlooking a public park. The place was small, but every object inside it belonged to me. Mutual friends contacted me cautiously. What happened? Matthew is panicking. He says you disappeared. I kept my answers brief. We ended the relationship. I did not tell them he had chosen Serena. I did not need to defend leaving a situation designed to humiliate me. Matthew returned to our apartment that weekend and found the closet empty, half the furniture gone, and my key resting beside his abandoned promise watch. He called from several numbers. I blocked each one. I later heard that he spent the first few weeks portraying our breakup as liberation. His social media filled with photographs of Serena, motorcycle rides, late-night parties, drinks behind the bar, captions about choosing excitement and refusing to settle. From the outside, they looked exactly like the life Matthew claimed he wanted. But the cracks appeared quickly. Serena's bartending shifts became inconsistent. Her DJ bookings disappeared after several arguments with venue owners. She had a gambling habit Matthew had once described as wild and spontaneous. Wild became expensive. Spontaneous became unpaid bills. One mutual friend mentioned that Serena regularly borrowed money from Matthew and rarely returned it. Then she convinced him to abandon several reliable freelance clients so they could launch an event planning company together. Matthew had no savings. Serena had no plan. But they rented a small office, purchased equipment on credit, and announced online that they were building an empire. The business failed within 3 months. Clients complained about missed deadlines. Venues refused to work with Serena after she arrived intoxicated to a corporate event. Matthew lost his largest marketing contract because he repeatedly ignored emails while trying to save their failing venture. The photographs changed. There were fewer smiles, more vague captions about betrayal, stress, and discovering who truly supports you. Then came the public arguments. Serena accused Matthew of being needy and controlling. Matthew complained that she disappeared for entire nights without explanation. A friend told me Serena had started checking his phone while refusing to let him touch hers. The irony was almost too perfect. 4 months after our breakup, the old landlord contacted me because my name had once been connected to the lease. Matthew was behind on rent. He had apparently told the landlord that money was coming from an investor. No investor existed. Soon after, one of Matthew's former friends told me Serena had cheated on him with a bartender from another club. When Matthew confronted her, she claimed he had driven her towards someone else by becoming too dependent. The same excuse he had used with me. He became isolated. Friends who had once supported his new relationship began avoiding both of them. The truth about how our relationship ended circulated and sympathy disappeared. Matthew lost his main client. Then another. His posts shifted from smug celebrations to desperate declarations. Hard seasons reveal real character. Sometimes you lose everything before finding yourself. I never responded. Meanwhile, my life continued improving. I closed a major account at work and received a performance bonus. I finally purchased the car I had postponed buying for Matthew's career. On weekends, I hiked, attended a book club, and volunteered at a community center helping young women understand budgeting and credit. I dated twice. Nothing serious. But both men treated my stability like a strength rather than an insult. Then Serena ended things. Matthew attended a job interview one afternoon and returned to an apartment missing her clothes, equipment, and half the furniture. She left a short note. "You are holding me back." He came home to an empty space and a sentence designed to erase everything he had given, exactly as I had. The difference was that I left with my dignity. Serena left him with debt. About 6 months after I left, Matthew found a way around the blocks. An unknown number appeared on my phone while I was leaving work. "Hey, it's Matthew. Can we talk? I miss our conversations." I read the message once. Then I deleted it and blocked the number. The next message came 2 days later from another line. "I know I made a mistake. Serena was a disaster. Please hear me out." Blocked again. Then came the voicemails. His voice sounded softer than I remembered. "Barbara, I know I hurt you." Things with Serena became toxic. She was controlling. She cheated. And I finally understand what I had with you. He paused. "You gave me stability. You loved me. I was stupid." I listened to the message once and erased it. No sympathy appeared. Not because I was heartless, because he was not calling to understand the pain he caused. He was calling because the replacement life had collapsed. Matthew began recruiting other people. His best friend Mason sent me a message. "Matthew is in a terrible place. Serena left him with debt. Ignoring him is cruel. At least give him closure." I replied with one sentence. "We ended when he chose another woman. No additional closure is required." Then I blocked him. Matthew's sister called next. She did not greet me. "You think you are better than him now because of your promotion?" "No. He needs help. After 8 years, you owe him a conversation. We are not family anymore." You disappeared like a coward. He told me he would continue sleeping with Serena whether I accepted it or not. She went quiet for half a second. Then she said, "People make mistakes." That was a decision. I ended the call. The attempts continued. Matthew emailed my work account after seeing my promotion announcement online. "Congratulations. I always knew you would succeed. I helped you become the woman you are. Can we meet for coffee?" The message irritated me more than the others. He had rewritten my success into something he had contributed to, just as he had rewritten his betrayal into personal growth. I forwarded the address to spam. A week later, security called from the lobby of my old office. "There is a man here asking for you." I knew before they said his name. "Tell him I no longer work there and he needs to leave." Matthew waited outside for almost an hour before security threatened to contact police. Then his messages changed. The apologies disappeared. "How dare you ignore me after everything I tolerated from you? You always were cold." Serena was right. You care more about work and money than people. Hours later, another message came from a different number. "I did not mean that. I am hurt. Please call me. I lost my job. The debt is getting worse. You were always good at solving things." There it was. The real request. He did not miss me. He missed the woman who paid bills, built plans, absorbed stress, and repaired every crisis. He wanted the old system restored. Therapy helped me see that clearly. Dr. Hayes asked if he had a stable job, no debt, and a happy relationship with Serena. Would he be contacting you? No. Then he is not returning because he finally understands your value. He is returning because he understands your usefulness. That sentence removed the last trace of guilt. Mutual friends slowly began apologizing. Some admitted they had seen Matthew and Serena together long before the confrontation. One friend wrote, "We thought it was not our place. We should have told you. I appreciated the honesty, but I did not invite any of them back into my life." Silence had been a choice too. By then, I had begun dating someone new. His name was Lucas. He worked in urban planning, loved hiking, and considered a quiet weekend with books and coffee a perfectly good use of time. On our third date, I apologized for checking the restaurant reservation twice. Lucas smiled. "You like knowing things are handled." "I have been told that makes me boring." "It makes me dependable." The word landed differently when spoken with respect. Our relationship moved slowly. No grand promises. No emotional chaos disguised as passion. Lucas remembered my work presentations, asked before making plans, and never treated kindness like something he was entitled to receive. Matthew kept trying for several more months. Every new number was blocked. Every email was ignored. Every request sent through friends was declined. Eventually, desperation hardened into resentment. His last message read, "Enjoy acting superior, while I lose everything." I did not answer. I was not superior. I had simply stopped volunteering to be destroyed with him. Nearly 1 year after the breakup, our mutual friend Jake invited me to his birthday party. "Small gathering," he said. "You should come." I suspected Matthew might be there. For the first time, that possibility did not frighten me. Lucas came with me. When we entered, I saw Matthew across the room. He looked thinner. His smile appeared a second too late. The moment our eyes met, he placed his drink down and started walking toward me. Lucas glanced at me. "You okay?" "Yes." And for the first time, I meant it. Matthew crossed the room before I had time to move. Up close, the changes were harder to ignore. His face looked thinner, his eyes tired, and the confident posture he once carried had collapsed into something restless. "Barbara," he said, "you look good." "Thank you." His gaze moved toward Lucas, who was speaking with Jake near the fire pit. "New boyfriend?" "Yes." Matthew swallowed and looked back at me. "The new city must be treating you well." "It is." I kept my answers polite and brief. He fidgeted with the rim of his glass. "I know I have contacted you too much." That is one way to describe it. Pain flashed across his face, followed quickly by frustration. "I needed you to understand what happened." "I understand what happened." "No, you do not." Serena was controlling. She cheated on me. She isolated me from everyone and left me with thousands in debt. The words came faster now. "I lost my clients. I lost the apartment. I have been working temporary jobs just to survive." "I am sorry you went through that." He stared at me, perhaps expecting more. But none of it changes what you did to me." Matthew stepped closer. I know I was arrogant. I thought excitement mattered more than everything we built. I understand now that stability is love. "No," I said calmly. "You understand now that instability is expensive." His expression tightened. "That is not fair." The word almost made me laugh. Fair? Several people nearby had gone quiet. I could feel them listening, but I no longer cared. Matthew lowered his voice. "We were together for 8 years. You cannot act as though that means nothing." "It meant everything to me until you told me I was not enough." I was confused. "You were certain enough to leave for Serena's apartment." He looked toward the floor. "I made the biggest mistake of my life. That does not make fixing it my responsibility. I will go to therapy. I will find steady work. We could start slowly." "No." The answer was immediate. His eyes filled. "You did not even think about it. I thought about us for 8 years." His sadness hardened into anger. "You just disappeared. You emptied the apartment and left one message. Do you know how cruel that was?" You announced that you would continue seeing another woman whether I accepted it or not. I wanted a conversation. You wanted permission. Matthew's voice rose. And now you are thriving while I have nothing. How is that fair? The room seemed to hold its breath. There it was. Not remorse. Resentment that I had recovered without him. You believe my success happened to punish you, I said. It did not. I moved forward because staying would have destroyed me. I helped you too. With what? He opened his mouth but produced no answer. I continued. I paid most of our rent. I supported your career. I rejected a promotion so you would not have to move. I handled the bills while you built your portfolio. You are keeping score again. No, I am remembering accurately. Matthew's face reddened. You have become cold. I became unavailable to people who confuse love with unlimited access. He looked toward Lucas again. So, he is your upgrade? Lucas is not part of this conversation. He looks boring. The insult sounded desperate. I smiled faintly. He is dependable. Matthew flinched because he understood exactly what that meant. I stepped back. You wanted excitement. You chose Serena. You told me that comforting you was not enough, and that I was holding you back. I was stupid. Yes. His eyes widened at my bluntness. But being stupid does not give you a second chance automatically. He reached for my arm. I moved away before he touched me. You owe me closure, he said. No, Matthew. Closure was the night you walked out and expected me to wait at home. Tears gathered in his eyes. After everything, I am irrelevant to you. I considered the question. Once, hearing his voice break would have destroyed me. Now I felt only distance. You are irrelevant to the life I have built. He stared at me as though I had struck him, then anger returned. Fine. Enjoy your perfect new life. You will regret treating me like this. I have no regrets. I turned away. Lucas stood near the fire pit, watching without interfering. When I reached him, he quietly asked, Ready to leave? Not yet? I took his hand. I want to stay for the cake. Behind us, Matthew remained alone for several minutes before leaving without saying goodbye. He never contacted me again. Months later, Lucas and I moved into a small apartment together. My career continued growing, and I began mentoring younger analysts who reminded me of the woman I had been before I learned that sacrifice without respect becomes self-erasure. Matthew's collapse was not my victory. Serena leaving him was not justice I needed to celebrate. My victory was simpler. I learned that being reliable was not boring. Being loyal was not weakness. And walking away without begging preserved the one thing Matthew had tried to take from me: my dignity.